Coming up on Messenger, we're talking all about community. Why does it matter? What happens when it's missing? And how can we each play a part in building it up? We'll start with Teen Talk, where young people reflect on the real challenges and rewards of church life. And later, we sit down with Colin Aker from Adventist Care Canada to see how the church is making an impact through practical acts of love and support. It's all about connection, compassion, and growing together in faith and in a service. Have you ever noticed how powerful it is when people come together for a common purpose? There's a story in the Bible found in Mark chapter 2. A man who was paralyzed wanted to see Jesus, but there was a huge crowd blocking every entrance. He couldn't get there on his own. That's when 4 of his friends stepped in. They picked him up, carried him to the house where Jesus was sitting, and when they couldn't get through the door, they did something bold. They climbed onto the roof, made an opening, and lowered their friend down right in front of Jesus. Jesus saw their faith and healed the man, both physically and spiritually. That moment shows us something powerful. Community lifts, community believes, and community takes action, even when it's inconvenient or uncomfortable. We weren't meant to walk through life alone. We need each other, especially in our faith journey. Today's episode is all about the strength and beauty of Christian community and how we can grow stronger by being part of a church family. Let's start with Teen Talk. When you're a teen, it's easy to feel like you're the only one trying to live out your faith. But the truth is, this journey isn't meant to be walked alone. Church community can be a place where you find support, accountability, and purpose. That's something we're unpacking even more in our next segment, Growing Up Gen Z. We'll hear what young people today think about church involvement, why community matters, and how being part of the body of Christ helps us grow stronger. Let's get into it.
Hey, welcome back to Teen Talk. I'm Quisha.
And I'm Clearona, and today we have a question. I feel like I'm struggling to hear God's voice. What am I doing wrong?
That's a tough one. But I feel like it's important to note that God speaks to us in many different ways. Sometimes it's not that audible, like, voice of God, like he did to like Mary in the Bible, for example. There's many different ways and forms that Jesus can speak and communicate with you.
For example, Moses needed a burning bush. God needed to set something on fire to speak to him. Or Jacob, as Jacob wrestled with God, Jacob needed an angel. Balaam, but needed a donkey. But needed a talking donkey to hear God's voice. But then, on the other hand, Noah just had a rainbow, which showed God's promise to never flood the earth again. Elijah heard a nice soft whisper. Joseph had dreams.
Yeah,
you know,
which is crazy though, not to interrupt you, but to go back to Elijah, because that really shows the difference. Because you know how you said Moses needed a burning bush?
Yes.
But if you remember the story of Elijah, Elijah's like, God, where are you?
Yes.
What did God send him? Fire.
Yeah.
But God wasn't in the fire for Elijah. Elijah needed that soft whispering sound compared to Moses. So it's cool.
And it just goes to show you, like, all these examples how God spoke to each person in a different way, you know? And many times, you know, we're so focused maybe on listening to God's voice the way you hear it, or the way Jacob heard it, or the way Moses heard God's voice. But these examples shows us that God speaks in different ways.
And like, God knows what you need. God knows how to reach you. And as you said, the worst thing to do is to go and compare it to other people. Like, for example, as you said, like Joseph had a dream. He saw God there. But I feel like how other people see God, well, at least how I see God, is like through my experiences. Like, especially, for example, when I would write a test and I don't know any of the material. Like I do my best, I study what I can, but when the test comes and I look at it, I'm like, girl, like I don't know any of this, And when you get the grade back, it's like, oh my goodness, like I passed. And I feel like that's how you know, like, you know what? That wasn't me. That was God. And I feel like that's another way that you can see him in your life.
Yeah, exactly. And also, the wise men, they followed a star. They followed an inanimate object. And that was heeding to God's voice through there. And also Samuel. Do you remember the story of Samuel when he was in the temple and he was sleeping and you heard, Samuel, Samuel. And he went up and he went to Eli. He's like, Eli, did you call me? No, Samuel, go back to bed. He slept and then he went back to sleep again. And he heard, Samuel, Samuel. So all these different examples that we've talked about before, like God speaks to people in so many different ways.
But I feel like it's also important to note that in order to hear God's voice, you need to know what it sounds like.
Yes.
You need to know the God that you're trying to communicate with. Like if let's say like I don't know who you are at all, but I'm like, okay, but I'm looking for Clarona. And but it's like, I don't know what Clarona looks like. I don't know who she is. I don't know how she'll talk to me. I feel like it's important to develop that relationship with God. Spend your time in prayer. Spend your time reading scripture. Also, the Bible's another way he can talk to you as well. So spend your time trying to get to know God. That way it'll be easier to recognize your voice when he is his voice when he's talking to you.
And also, I think another way to recognize God's voice is know his character, like who God is. If you're hearing something that is anxious or something that's, you know, that doesn't align with God's character, you know, he's patient, he's long suffering. And this, all these knowing who God is helps you identify his voice.
Yeah, and I think it's very important to be able to distinguish between your voice and God's voice. Because I know when I was a kid, the huge thing was, you know, there's people in church who would be like, God spoke to me and he told me this. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I want God to speak to me too. So I would like lie in bed. I'll be like, okay, God, speak. And then it's just your thoughts, your mind talking to you. And you're like, God, like, is this God? Is this me? Is this God putting this thought in me? And I feel like just developing that understanding that sometimes is not an audible voice. Like sometimes you go to church, pastor's preaching to me.
Yes.
I don't know who else is in the congregation, but the message was for me.
Yes.
Because that's what I needed that day.
Yes.
Right? So I feel like sometimes God could use other people to like speak to you as well.
And many people have experiences like they're praying to God, they're asking for an answer, and then all of a sudden like a Bible verse pops up in their head, or they're just flipping through their Bible and a story that they land upon relates to their situation. So there's many different ways that God will speak through us. And I like the Bible verse, Jeremiah 33 verse 3. It says, call to me and I will answer you and tell you great and unsearchable things that you do not know.
And I think it's okay for you to be specific in the prayers that you pray. Like, God, I have a test at this time, at this location, and I need this grade. And I feel like it's okay to ask him for those things.
Jeremiah 29 verse 13 says, you will seek me and find me when you seek me with all your heart. So here's God is, you know, telling us to search me, find me, and I'm here to give you answers if you're honestly searching me with all your heart.
And I feel like sometimes we only seek God when we're going through something.
Yes.
When we need his help. But then do you really know God?
Yes.
Like, are you spending that time to know his character, know who he is? Or is he just like your vending machine? Like, oh God, I need this, so I'm gonna call on you now. And I feel like it's important to note that like a relationship with God is important. So when you're facing those trials, you already have that. You already know what to look for. You already know how God communicates with you. So when you need to call on him for a situation, you know for a fact that he's gonna be there for you, and you know not exactly how he's going to show up for you, but you know, you have the assurance that he will be there for you.
Yeah, and I like that point that you said, like, relationship is definitely foundation. Like, if you don't have a relationship with God, as you said, you're not going to be able to recognize his voice when he's talking to you. You won't be able to see his working in your life. So the relationship is definitely foundational to hearing God's voice. And if you look at 1 John 5 verse 14, it says, this is the confidence that we have in approaching God, that if we ask anything according to his will, he hears us.
And I think confidence
Yes.
is an important word to note as well, because it's like you can pray for something, but you can't be like at the back of your mind being like, I'm just gonna put this to God in prayer, but I don't really think he will answer, like, but we'll just see, it doesn't hurt. No, pray to God with confidence. God is almighty, he's all-knowing, he can do it. So come to him with the assurance knowing that God will answer my prayer the way that he sees best. So thank you so much for joining us today on Teen Talk. And honestly, if you're looking to hear God's voice, we challenge you. Try to seek God, and he will definitely answer you in the ways that he sees best. So thank you so much for joining us on Teen Talk, and we'll talk again. Bye.
No matter your age, there's something powerful about being part of a community that cares. For Gen Z, that might look like finding purpose and friendship at church. But for others, it could be working in a career that makes a real difference. That's what we're talking about next, because for almost 60 years, the Adventist Church in Canada has quietly been serving communities through something you may not know much about: long-term care homes. These homes provide love, care, and dignity to seniors across the country. And through a new network called Adventist Care Canada, that work is growing. Today, we're joined by Colin Aker, the National Coordinator of Adventist Care Canada, to tell us more. Hello, Colin. Thank you for joining us today.
Yes, of course. Thank you for having me on Messenger TV. I'm pleased to be here and representing Adventist Care Canada.
Can you tell us what Adventist Care Canada is and what it does?
Well, Adventist Care Canada is an association of 6 Adventist-sponsored nursing homes across Canada. Now, we've been around for some 40, 50 years, and about 1970s, Canadian Adventist Health Services formed as a way to support our leaders and our staff. And through the years, we've had some name changes, but we're now known as Adventist Care Canada. So our first nursing home was Sunnyside Adventist Care Centre, which opened in 1964. And the last one was Valley View Residence, which opened in 2004. We also have Sherwood Care, which operates near Edmonton. We have West Park Manor Personal Care Home and Park Manor Care in Winnipeg. And we have Heritage Green Nursing Home, which is in Stony Creek near Hamilton, Ontario. So those care homes are busy taking care of seniors, and they're getting older, so we're very excited that 2 of our care homes, Sherwood Care and Park Manor Care, are on the verge of developing and building new nursing homes or expanded nursing homes to serve their communities. Now, overall, the goals of our association are to support the leadership and the staff of our care homes. We share best practices, we share our experiences, mentor each other. For example, we have a group of nursing directors who meet via Zoom on occasion during the year to support each other. And we have another group of chaplains who meet during the year as well now to support each other and to share and to exchange ideas. So that is another good area that we're developing. We also provide opportunities for mentorship and leadership development. We try to collaborate with other ministries in Canada, such as ADRA Canada and The Messenger, and even now Hope Channel TV. So we're thankful for that.
Why is this ministry of serving seniors so important to our church?
Well, that's a great question. I'm just happy to share with you that, we understand that God's love is practical. So we need to be practical in how we care for people and show his love. God's love is just not words, it's also lived by our actions. And so, as you think of a resident, you can imagine them moving into a long-term care home. It's a very stressful time for the family and the person moving in. People who've never been to a care home before, they may have heard bad things through the news media, and they're often going through very big challenges in their life, transitions as they're getting older. So one of the first things we have to do is we have to build trust with that family, with that resident. In taking on this challenge, our individual members and staff seek to serve and minister to their residents in a way that represents the love and care of Jesus Christ, as he demonstrated when he was here on earth. And so our goal is to make sure the residents feel seen and heard and valued as we reflect God's love, as if they were his child as well. And the staff take time to listen and to visit our residents through all their life challenges, showing them that they're not alone, even though their family may not be nearby. We take care of all their daily needs, their nutritional needs, providing a clean environment, and safe and respectful care, professional care, of course, through physicians and our nurses. And we understand that in the future, we too may be needing a nursing home, so we want to make sure that we set a good example for others to follow. And our care homes are a little bit multifaceted. 3 of them actually serve seniors, retirees in their communities through independent or assisted living homes as well that are attached to the care homes. So it's a great opportunity for people to connect in the community and to help each other and to serve as well. So there's many good reasons for us to serve in this way through our nursing homes here in Canada.
What are some of the ways Adventist Care Canada is partnering with young people?
That's really important. Thank you for asking. Probably the primary ways we do this is through inviting students to apply for employment, usually in the summer. There's also year-round volunteering opportunities, and there's a number of ways that they can get involved. They can be involved in the business office, they can do music and art, nursing supports, recreation programs is a very big thing. Even facilities and grounds, there's opportunities for employment that way, or volunteering, of course. And it's a great way for young people to develop and learn skills and, of course, make a little money while they're at it, so that's good. And so these are positions that are available to Adventist youth and to our local community youth as well, because it's important for us to be a part of a larger community and help people learn and understand what we do and who we are as Adventists. So that's a great opportunity for us. We also are collaborating with Burman University. We've been talking with them about hosting practicums and just summer students paid. And of course, we do get funding from the federal government to help us with our summer student salaries. So it's a win-win there for everyone. And that has actually led to a new $2,000 scholarship that we sponsor for Burman students who might be employed at one of our care homes during the summer. So we're trying to help that way as well. And, just to point out that many of these young people, they actually gain so much good experience and they make lasting connections with people and of course, our community that, you can run into these people anywhere in Canada in the future and you'll find out that they had good experiences at one of our care homes.
How do the care homes stay connected to the wider church community?
Yes, employment is a great thing that we offer for communities, Adventists and just those who live in the area. We do employ a significant number of Adventists in administration and management, direct resident care, dietary services, facility support services. And then it's kind of great because these Adventists then make money and it's good wages, commensurate with other healthcare positions in that province. And they will support their local churches with their time and their finances as well.
What kinds of jobs or volunteer roles are available for Adventist youth or students?
Yeah, that's important too. Often as CEOs, we would talk about how we can engage more with our local church community. And so there's a number of ways that we can do this. Volunteering is a huge one. We've talked about students being able to volunteer, and so there's a number of ways that that can happen. They can help with our nursing programs. They can help with our food service programs. They can help with music therapy, spiritual care, recreation programs. So as an individual, they can volunteer and help out that way. They can also share music if they have a talent. They can come in and put on a music program for our residents any time of day or evening. And then there's church members who will band together in one of those cities where we're located to form a group that would come in and do music, do poems, do readings, scripture readings, do a little devotional, and just mix and mingle with the residents to brighten up their day. And many of our residents, of course, do have a faith-based background, so they appreciate that very much. And so another way that we remain connected is in the reverse. Our staff and our management are involved in their local churches, and they share news and information and participate in the work of the local church as well. Now, our pastors also get involved of our local churches, not only our Adventist pastors, but our community pastors of other faiths, because really most of our residents are not Adventist members. And so we encourage other church communities to send their pastor or their members over to do programs and to do visitation to support the people that came from their faith community as well.
How do these homes reflect the values of the Adventist Church in their day-to-day work?
Well, this is really, really important, and thank you for the question. I would say above all, we're here to share God's love for all people. And as you can tell, most of our staff and most of our residents aren't Adventist. So we have a message to share with those people. And it's really important that we as a church care for people, because caring is the right thing to do, whether we're the same belief or not. I mean, there may not be a benefit to us as an individual, as a church, to care, but we care because it's the right thing to do. Of course, there will be benefits because we engage with people and we learn and grow together and we are able to share. And of course, the Bible tells us that it's important to care and to love. We can look to Isaiah 58, verses 6 to 10, where God tells us what he expects us to do into caring for people. He says, share your bread with the hungry and bring the homeless poor into your home. Jesus validated that calling in Matthew 25. He shared about how you had the two groups. In the one group, he said, I was hungry and you gave me food. I was thirsty and you gave me drink. I was a stranger and you welcomed me. And then his comment to that was, truly I say to you, as you did it to one of the least of these my brothers, you did it to me. And so we have a real responsibility to carry forth as Jesus did. Even in the parable of the Good Samaritan, which you all know, and the one character that gets left out of it is the innkeeper. And so our care homes are like the innkeeper. Someone comes to us in need, they're hurting, they need care, and we are there to support them through those challenges in life.
What do you hope church members across Canada will take away from hearing about this ministry?
Well, that's a good question. We've talked about many things, of course, and over the years as I've been part of this, we find that there's many Adventists, especially if they don't live in one of the communities where we have a nursing home. They don't even know necessarily that we have nursing homes across Canada and the kind of work that we do. So a key takeaway is just to provide that awareness and a little more background about who we are and what we do. And hopefully this opportunity this morning to share is going to help with that. The extent of our ministry is another key aspect. And even though we're only 6 nursing homes now, collectively we serve 788 residents. and their direct families and their friends. There's about 1,300 employees and their families, plus all of our volunteers, which are numerous as well, adding up to maybe 6,000 to 7,000 people who are in our communities across Canada at any given time. So it's a significant responsibility in sharing our faith. It's a significant opportunity in sharing that we have a God who loves through our actions. And so another key takeaway would be that it's important to know who we serve. As I mentioned earlier, our residents, staff, and volunteers are primarily not Adventist members. And so we serve in a multicultural, multi-faith community. And so we can share our values and God's love with a much larger community than most churches. And so if you're thinking about reaching out or getting involved in any sort of evangelistic endeavors, the first thing is to make friends, to get out there and rub shoulders with people, work together with them. And then as trust grows and friendship grows, then God can use you to reach further as those spiritual discussions come up with people.
Thank you so much, Colin, for sharing how Adventist Care Canada is serving with compassion and purpose. It's amazing to see how faith in action can touch lives, whether it's in a care home, or a classroom, or a church.
You're very welcome, and we are thankful as well for the opportunity. And of course, I might mention that we have an article in the August Messenger magazine that you can read as well to learn more about what we're doing there. And we hope to communicate more about our work in the future as well. Thank you.
We've talked about a lot today, from hearing the voices of Gen Z to caring for the most vulnerable among us. And through it all, one thing is clear: God is still calling each of us to serve wherever we are. That's it for this episode of Messenger. If you would like to work with us, consider becoming an agent of hope and supporting this ministry. Your participation helps us continue spreading God's love and message of hope. To donate, visit agentsofhope.ca, where you can give by debit, credit, Apple Pay, or Google Pay. E-transfers are also accepted at agentsofhope@hopetv.ca. You can mail a check payable to Hope Channel Canada to the following address: Hope Channel Canada, 1148 King Street East, Oshawa, Ontario, L1H1H8. Or give us a call at 1-855-4HOPE-TV. That's 1-855-446-7388. Thank you for being with us today. Keep spreading hope and being a messenger in your community.